The day is finally here. After so much blood and sweat, it is finally time. The village is built, and it's now the iron farm's turn, starting with the villager sorter. Of course, before we can build the villager sorter, we've got to bring our redstone supplies to the village. And we don't have any shulker boxes, so this might take me a trip or two, just because, you know, we got quite a bit of stuff to bring here. Actually, we might be able to do this all in one trip if I quite simply make a bunch more redstone blocks. Alright, one trip it is. And with all of our redstone supplies now in the village, we can actually start building the villager sorter, starting with, of course, its entrance. So, if we hop on over to a redstone world, I can show you guys how the mechanism works. Basically, the villagers will twice a day gather around a bell in the center of the village, which will be here, and then dispensers will activate when I want the farm to run and push water, pushing them into the center here, where we have double piston extenders that pull away the blocks. So the villagers can just fall down right here. So, to start, we've got to start building. And we are going to start building the entrance with just a hole, basically, down to somewhere. This actually isn't going to be the exact depth yet because it quite simply won't, but I'm not using that shovel because it's almost broken. So if I just make a new one, we are going to start just by digging out the area we need, which, so each section of the thing is 4 wide, and actually we are going to just get rid of this here for now, just to make building this up a little bit easier. So we're gonna have 4 wide for the redstone and then 9 back. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. How blatantly obvious is it that I didn't plan this out as much as I should have? This is more of a rough estimate than anything exact, but it works. So now we need to do the vertical digging, which needs a minimum of 4, not counting the top block. So we're gonna dig down 5, I think, just to be sure. And actually, I'm just digging down 4 because having to refill in a layer if I'm wrong about the 5 would just be a pain. So we're not doing that. So with space to put in the redstone, we now need to, you know, put in the redstone. Starting with the pistons, most likely. If I go take a look back at the mechanism, yeah, starting with the pistons will probably be easiest. So, time to place some pistons. So with the pistons put in, first of all, we get rid of these placeholder blocks. And then we are going to start putting in more redstone, you know, as one does. Specifically, all of this stuff here. I'm probably going to start with the bits coming out of the main 2 pistons and then build this bit here but we're putting in the main redstone now. The main redstone for the entrance, not the main redstone for the sorter itself. So now that we have placed all of the redstone, it's time to see if we actually, placed it correctly. Which I probably should have tested before doing all of the modules, because if something's wrong with one of them, it's probably wrong with all of them. So, yay, it works. All right. Now, you probably have noticed that, well, these aren't exactly linked up. That's because I did not link them up when I designed this in my testing world. And as such, that is a problem for future me, because every single element of the iron farm system I've designed just isn't linked up to one another. So I'll have to figure that out eventually, which means that, well, this is fine for now. What we should do, however, is put in some torches and cover this up for now so that it looks less terrible. And we're putting in the torches so that mobs don't spawn, because I don't exactly want that to happen, and I don't want to figure out where I can place blocks without messing up the redstone and all of that stuff. So we're just using torches instead. Surely there is no way in which that goes wrong. This won't become a mob spawner. Why would it do that? It wouldn't do that to me. So, in delusion that 4 torches are enough to keep this from being a mob spawner, let's fill in the blocks. You'd think that since I had enough slabs at the start to cover up the entire area, I'd have enough slabs to recover the entire area. But I didn't, for some reason. So that was fun. So, well, we now have an entrance to the villager sorter. The entrance doesn't actually lead anywhere, because, we haven't actually built the villager sorter yet. And since it's going to be, the villager sorter is going to be underground, we've got to dig out the area for it. So, if we check out the dimensions of the sorter, we can see that the dimensions of the sorter are about 36 by 38 and 6 blocks tall. So, we're going to dig that out. With us now having a space to build the villager sorter, it's time to build the villager sorter. And we're going to start with the actual shape of it. If we hop over to a redstone world, we can see that, well, a lot of the space we dug out is for redstone, and not the villagers' main parts of the villager sorter. So we will have this main area that the villagers drop down into that is 4 by 5. And then it goes out into this 1 block wide channel where we have one sorter module that the villagers can go into. And then this goes down 12 blocks from the entrance, and then 14 blocks this way, and then 24 blocks this way. And then we come back around to over here where it connects back up. So we are going to be building the base up first, and then we will work on the actual redstone itself. So let's get block placing. So this is the basic structure basically mapped out. It isn't very pretty, but that is okay because we won't be seeing this ever again. It's not visible, so it doesn't matter. Anyways, so here isn't built up because this is the exit of everything, and I don't know where specifically the villagers will be coming back up to the surface yet, so there's no real point in building this up yet. And then I don't have all of the height of the walls completely filled in because I know that they're not fully consistent all the way through the build. I just don't remember off the top of my head where they are shorter than the others. So now that we have the base built up, let's head back over to the redstone world and see what the first aspect of the redstone we will be building is. And I think the first thing that we are going to be putting in is the little modules that the villagers go into if they're going to be going into the iron farm. And I went over how this works in the video where I designed this iron farm setup, so I'm not going to go over it again. But basically, the villager gets pushed into that way, and and when they're in there, it triggers the pistons going down, which blocks them in so that two villagers don't end up in the same module. So let's get building this. And actually, the first thing we have to do is grab our supplies that we will need. So if we head back up to the surface, let me out. Okay. We will need 2 pistons for each module, so 2 times 3 is 6. So we actually need not those. And then we need the string. We need our tripwire hooks, which are here. We'll need 3 slime balls, our repeaters, and some redstone dust. And then that plus some blocks should be everything we need. So now let's get building. And this was going to be a time lapse, but I ended up needing to switch back and forth between the redstone testing world and our let's play world enough times that that didn't end up happening. So, and here is the first module done. This might be slightly different than the redstone in the testing world, just because there's a ceiling here. So I think in the testing world, this is just a normal redstone, like string of redstone stone line across. But since I can't put a thing of redstone on top of that block, I'm charging it with a repeater to get the redstone signal to the other side. And for proof that it works, voila. The delay on this piston here is so that the villager does not get suffocated to death, because that is a risk. So let's build up the other 2. And that is all 3 of the villager containers. That's what we'll call them. Done for now. So it is time for the next element. And it is between either the redstone clock that opens and closes this gate to keep the villagers sort of spaced out, or the piston door that opens and closes when the villager holders are full, so that anyone who isn't going to be going into the iron mine can then exit. So I think we're going to go with the exit door just to get that out of the way. And it's basically just when there are villagers in the capsules, we take a redstone line that is powered that turns off these redstone torches, which in turn make it so that this redstone torch turns on, which opens this door and closes this door here so that all the villagers actually go out instead of just continuing along in the loop forever. So I think we're going to start by putting in the piston doors and then putting in the redstone, connecting that all up. And we are once again going to start with grabbing the supplies we need, which redstone repeaters, we need redstone torches, a bit more redstone dust, probably wouldn't hurt. Then we will need 4 more sticky pistons. So let's craft those up. And I believe that that should be it. So let's get block placing. And we're actually not going to do this in a time lapse. I'm gonna bring you guys with me while I do this. How about? So let's head down over here. And here will be the first piston door. And here will be the second. And now we are going to make the little key, I guess you'd call it, that makes it so that the doors only activate when all of the modules are full. And let's go like that. And then we bring this to there, and also around to here, which if we break these, does that close both of the doors? You know what we can do? We can probably just do a repeater there. And that will not solve our problems, because why would it? Oh, is it? Go like that. Does that solve it? I don't remember how pistons work. This is slightly embarrassing. There we go. Okay. And then this just fully ran out of juice. So gotta put a repeater there, and then we do the same thing like that. And actually, let's use slightly less redstone dust for this by just doing that. Yay, that works. So let's put these 3 back in. And then we want to be able to depower each of the torches when the capsules are full. So go like that, and then those will both take, or actually we can have this one take another repeater, and then this will wrap around to one, this will wrap around to another, and that one will wrap around the final of the capsules. So let's just, I'm gonna need to grab more redstone, I think. Let's bring this over here, like so, and that probably needs a repeater in it somewhere. So we'll stick one there. And then way over here, we'll grab this one. I don't actually need to bring it that far back. More like to here, I think. And then we need to go grab more redstone. Let's bring this all the way. Ooh. Y'all heard that fire too, right? That's weird. So we'll bring that along there, and this will need a couple of repeaters as well. Hopefully that's enough. I'll stick redstone torch there, and does that get all the way? Yes. Lovely. So that leaves us with the final and also the hardest connection to make. And we're actually going to cut this through the center a bit here, just to try and take up a little bit less redstone. So we'll bring the redstone signal, actually not from here, but from this side of everything, and bring it across to here. Stick a repeater in here just in case, and then go back around to the other side where we can take the redstone signal to... Oh boy. We need to bring it over here. So I've totally thought this through. Make a little crossover here. And if this is powered, that won't power that line under there. No, it won't. Okay, good. So we bring this, and then we also cross over here to here. And is this signal long enough? No. Okay. Ew. Okay, if I put a repeater there, that powers there. So what if I take a repeater here? And then just do that. Yes, that works. All right. Lovely. So that is the doors setup, which leaves us with the clock for the fence. So let's go check that out. And as you can see, this is just a hopper clock. Oh, you know what? I want to see how did I bring this over from over here? Okay, I brought it around like out here. That takes a bit more redstone though, so we're not going to do that. Oh, why does this have... Oh, we need to add another redstone torch setup because... Right, I forgot that we want these to be opposites. Okay, we're gonna have to fix that. But let's take a look at our redstone clock here. So it's just a hopper clock with 2 items in it. Okay. That's easy enough. And then it powers this fence here. The little lever to turn it on and off. Alright. Well, first, let's fix our door setup over here, and then we'll build up the hopper clock. So, here, this we want to be off when this is on. Or we want this to be on when this is off. So that's fine, actually. It's here that we need to put another redstone torch. Like so that this is closed off when it's not. So just double check that that works. This is extended. This still isn't. And this is de-extended, which is what we want. Yes. All right. So that's that fixed. So let's put in the hopper clock, which the gate... I don't have a gate on me. I don't have any of the stuff for hopper clock on me. Actually, wait, I do have some things for the hopper clock on me. But we still need to head upstairs to grab the gate. So let's do that. Did I even bring the gate over? Do I have a gate? I better have a gate. I have a fence. That's not what we want, though. Take out the pressure plates and the bell. Oh, you know what? Let's put the bell in. Dispensers. Place this real quick. Ice. It doesn't look like we have a fence. Or a gate. We have a fence. We have fences. We don't have gates. So, we need to craft one. They spawned outside the walls, right? I don't have to worry about them. Yeah, it looks like they spawned outside the walls. Alright. Surely... Yeah, no, we need... What's the recipe for... Yeah, we need 2 wooden planks. Not just one, which is mildly annoying, because we only have 1 wooden plank. How unfortunate. Right, in that case, we shall go chop down a tree real quick, whilst avoiding the pillagers. And these into planks. And then we can make the gate, and also grab some comparators, because I need one of those. 2 of those. And a redstone block. And pistons. Do you need sticky pistons or normal pistons for for a hopper clock? I don't remember. Okay, geez. I'm going to double check that, and I'm going to get all the stuff we need, and then I'm going to build the hopper clock and show you guys the hopper clock. That's what's going to happen. And so here is the redstone clock. I had to shift the fence up, not up one. Forward one, just because otherwise, these 2 redstone lines would power each other, and that's not what we want. So, yeah, that's the clock going, this is the clock off. Astounding. So, that is the redstone of the villager sorter done. And so, with the redstone complete, that leaves the water streams left to add, and the villager sorter will be complete. Unfortunately, the water streams are actually fairly complicated, or, well, maybe not complicated, but they're not simple either. So if we top over to the redstone world, we can take a look at the water streams. So right off the bat here, we start with 3 water sources just like flowing down this way, but then there's also water sources there and there to, you know, actually push the villagers into here. And then if, there's a block there that is keeping me from flying up. Here, at each one of these, we have a water source back here. As you can see, that, keeps, or doesn't keep anything. It makes it so that the villagers can flow into there. And then we have repeating water sources, with the ice blocks and stuff. Villagers are never underwater long enough to drown, so that's fine. There's ice blocks and pressure plates for some reason. Oh, it's to keep... Okay, I know why it's there. Why are you... Sir, I recommend you keep moving. Or you can just, like, stare at that guy, I guess. Forever. That's really what you want to do. Anyways, all along here is fairly simple. Once we reach here, we have a water stream upwards, and then another water source block that pushes them out, but we won't be building that because we don't know where they're coming out yet. So this we can just ignore. It's the getting them back into the main area here that's a little bit complicated, so they end up pushed along here, into a water thing up, and then they are pushed forward here. This is a just in case to keep them from, like, getting stuck, like, right out here and, like, not actually moving forward. Yeah, I don't think I have the signs for this. So I am going to have to make the signs, and I don't think I brought the soul sand over either. So I'm going to be getting the signs and the soul sand, and then we will be putting in the water sources, or water streams. What is a water stream if not a lot of water sources, I guess. Anyways, let's get going. And actually, I did bring up the soul sand over, so all I had to do was chop down a couple of trees to get the signs, and this is probably a little bit overkill. We probably won't need all of those, but, like, you know, rather have too many than have to go chop down more trees. So it is time to actually do this. And here is the main chamber streams set up. As you can see, I had to make it much smaller because this is the size that it was in the testing world, and I'm not about to try and refigure out how to get the water streams set up. So this is what we're going with. So on to the next part. And the main loop of the water stream has been added. I did have to lower this villager module just to make it all work. We're not going to go there. We are trying to traverse the water stream here. It is kind of slow, but, you know, what can you do? Well, I suppose layering the ground with ice would make it faster, but, like, I cannot be bothered to do that. So the villagers just get a nice flow commute. And voila, we are back at the start. I need to sleep soon, and then we will put in the little elevator that brings us back up to the top here. I have to get out. Let me out. I am officially, like, 5 seconds away from crashing out. So this is the setup for the raising up water stream in our testing world, right? Okay, you get in the water stream, it pushes you forward, you get to the water column, and it pushes you up, and you get pushed forward. That's how it's supposed to work, okay? Now if we go over to our actual Let's Play world, okay, we're here, and take a look at our setup here, okay? It's not the exact same because this area here is longer, which means I needed to use more water streams, and I put in an extra one because I thought maybe, like, this, like, the water stream had gotten too shallow, and that's why it couldn't, like, push us fully across the ice. But this is the same setup, okay? I have, like, triple checked. I've set everything up basically the same. Except when I get to the ice, I don't go all the way across. Why don't I reach? Why? What the frick, man? And, like, I can't just, like, get rid of this, because then everything breaks. What am I supposed to do? Why don't I go all the way across? What is happening? Why is this like this? I'm like, it is blatantly not the fact that this is, like, too shallow of a water stream. Like, this is a deeper water stream than the one in the testing world. But here, it's not frickin' working. For some reason. So, oh, frick, I need to sleep. But, yeah, I am frustrated with Minecraft right now. So, yeah, I've got to figure out how to get that to work. Isn't this so lovely? Well, I figured out the problem, and it was, like, embarrassingly simple. It did take me a Google search to figure it out, though, which is kinda sad. Basically, my boots had depth strider on them, which, for some reason, changes whether or not, water can push you fully across an ice block. So yay! Since the villagers obviously won't have Depth Strider on, that just fully isn't a problem. So, this is our villager sorter built. So, we've got our villager sorter, but we still need a way to get the villagers into the iron farm from the modules, so that's what we'll be tackling next episode. And in the meantime, why don't you go check out the video where I planned all of this redstone out? Drink some water, grab a snack if you haven't eaten in a while, and I will see you guys next time. Bye-bye!